Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is just under 2 minutes until this fantastic live stream is going to be in your eyes and in your ears. And I promise you, because all the content we do is really good, that it is going to be absolutely worth the wait. We are just now checking our microphone levels, making sure the internet's okay and it's not going to go kapoom on us at any point. We've got the new compressors for the audio, so we're not spiking and not hurting your ears. In the
Hey, what's happening? Welcome. It is 7 o'clock-ish on a Thursday. It is Thursday Night Pint. We're going to be talking through a whole range of Liverpool topics. We're going to be looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold, the evolution of the Scouser in our team following his little shift, his little dynamic shift of position, and another fabulous performance for the Reds on Monday night's win over Leeds United. We're going to be ranking Liverpool's cult heroes of the Premier League era, and we're going to be previewing Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest as well. I'm going to be joined by a journo and a former Liverpool player to do that, as well as two Redmen stars as well. But before we dive into that, remember you can interact with me using the live show chat here on YouTube, and if you are a subscriber to redmenplus.com as a club legend, you can use the club legend Discord as well. Right, first, let's look back on the week in Liverpool. And in the aftermath of the Jude Bellingham news, the heartbreaking news that the Reds would not be pursuing their interest in the Borussia Dortmund midfield, reports began to come out that Liverpool had switched their attentions and focus instead to the Dutchman, out of favour, out of sorts, but very much highly regarded at Bayern Munich in Ryan Gravenberch. Interesting stuff indeed, setting red hearts aflutter and hopefully easing the pain, heartbreak and misery caused by the Jude Bellingham news. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. That news was then promptly shot down by Florian Plettenberg of Sky Germany, who described it as a 100% chance of him staying at Bayern. And is definitely not for sale. It's fucking April. The transfer window closes in September. Strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. In positive news on the field for the mighty Reds, Luis Diaz made his long-awaited return to action at Ellen Road. The Colombian winger had been out of action with a knee injury, 2 knee injuries technically, going all the way back to injuring himself against Arsenal on the 9th of October. Wonderful, wonderful stuff to see Lucho back in our lives. In addition to that, and on the very same game, Liverpool won away from home. Yes! Yes! Yeah, they won 6-1 against Leeds United. Wasn't that great? Just do more of that, please, Liverpool. Move things forward. Yeah, it was our first win since the 7-0 victory over Manchester United. That was on the 5th of March. Yeah. Times journalist Jacob Steinberg has claimed that Mason Mount looks increasingly likely to join Liverpool. Good stuff indeed. And to wrap things up, one final piece of news off the back of the shocking incident in the Liverpool-Arsenal game. The Robbo elbow linesman is set to return to action. Yes, Konstantin Hatzidakis, who was initially stood down after being seen elbowing Andy Robertson, has since apologised by Zoom to the Scotland captain. And yes, he will returns action for the Preston versus Blackburn game. Rumours that he's threatened to lay the smacketh down on Tyler Morton's Rudy Poo candy ass remains at this point in time unconfirmed. I'm a little concerned, by the way, as well, that I did ask for a picture of the Rock. Aaron, is that Rocky? Sounds Rocky, ladies and gentlemen. The gag doesn't work with it being Rocky, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Right, fuck it. Let's move on and let's introduce my guests for this week. First and foremost, it is a man who was frantically searching for the magnets required for our ranking section in part 2. It is the lovely, it is the cuddly, it is the generous, it is Mr. Steve Hall! I'm told that you are. I've seen your generosity in work, but I'm also I found out that you're a generous husband and possibly lover as well.
One of those is correct.
I'll let the comments decide which one that is. Is he a generous husband or a generous lover or both? Baron wants to put a poll on that. That'd be interesting to find out the answer to that. Okay.
Shall I text the wife now and see what she says and like,
do it?
Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, Trent.
I mean, I can't see how that ends well, but
depends who I'm loving, doesn't it?
Right, so let me introduce the man who will be sat alongside Steve for the duration tonight. It is the wonderful, the exceptional, the wonderfully talented himself, Mr. Chris Pajak. Yeah, we haven't even got Amber there to whoop and holler.
I know. It's gutting, to be honest with you, Paul.
Yeah.
I feel like...
The ego stroke wasn't
Yeah, it wasn't quite there today. So I didn't dance, mate.
Sorry, mate, I was texting as well, so I didn't even give you an applause.
Disappointing. Well, we've got the proper guests in next, so I'm going to need...
Okay then, see you later.
Going to need the whooping and hollering to be raised to the highest level of expectation, as we'll be doing our next guest. It is the star... co-star, Steve?
I was about to say.
Of Journo Insight.
Star.
Journo Insight with Neil Jones, the show's called, by the way. The regular.
I haven't called it that for ages.
Journo Insight with me, Steve Hall, and my guest Neil.
Yeah, it is, of course. Goals, Mr. Neil Jones!
You the star of our show?
Tonight or just generally?
Not our show.
Yes, to both.
Yeah, definitely.
It's literally called Journo Insight
it
with Neil Jones.
I haven't said that again. I've been calling it Journo Insight.
It's on the title screen, the title sequence.
It's got more views since we put Neil's face on the thumbnails as well. So.
And took yours off.
And took mine off.
But other than that,
No, I'm not the star.
Neil's definitely the star. Right, okay, let's get our final guest for the night in. It is former Liverpool forward, Mr. Adam Morgan. Woo! Who gets extra marks for the trainer t-shirt coordination as well. I'm a big fan.
I knew you were special, so I
Big fan of that indeed. Right, Sam, we're going to dive into it. Again, don't forget that you can interact with the show by using the live show chat on YouTube and all that good stuff as well. I'm just going to have a quick scout through the comments. Logan Burke here saying, stuck in work. This is going to get me through the rest of the shift. Thanks, lads. Well, whether it gets you through it in a good way or a bad way remains to be seen. But you know what? There's clearly worse things you could be doing with your time, like clearly doing your actual work. Logan, let us know what your job is. If you're operating heavy machinery, can I please recommend that you don't pay too much attention to what we're doing? We'll see in due course. AP06 says Thursday Night Pint, LFC fan 2210. Hi lads, and Liverpool fan. It's fine. It says hello. There we go. Brilliant. Neve asks if I've already had a pint. I haven't. It's fine. It's fine. I will be tucking in. Right. Let's dive into it. We're going to talk Trent Alexander-Arnold. And we're going to start with Leeds 6-1. Neil, just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. I mean, obviously I over-egged the away win thing, but we haven't seen too many of them this season, and to go and do it in that fashion was just everything we needed.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's been too long, hasn't it, really, these sort of classic Liverpool away trips where the away ends in good voice and everything seems to go the way you want it to. And I saw Jurgen sort of, I think he wanted to do some fist pumps at the end, but he definitely decided, it's not been that kind of season. Let's know our place a little bit. But you could see it meant a lot to him, just in the last minute, the the reaction that was shared wide, wasn't it? Of them, celebrating some pressing. Yeah, that absolute that absolute delight. Funny enough, goals top story this week, news-wise, has been that those quotes about that poor player, Rutter getting closed down, and sort of, I'm guessing the video was the sort of selling point of it, but we haven't had many of them this season, have we? Steve and I were talking yesterday on another show.
Your show.
Our show.
Don't know what it's called, but we were talking about. I went to Rangers, I went to Villa, I missed Newcastle, I went to Tottenham, but they're the only ones. They're the only sort of real away wins. Obviously, there was Ajax as well, but
forget Ajax. It was the greatest away of all time.
Not many though. Like that compared to like where sort of fans have been up and down the country for the last few years, haven't they? Just strutting, swaggering, thinking, we're going to batter these today, and I haven't really felt like that. I actually went to Leeds thinking they weren't going to win, so yeah, I'm glad to be wrong. Yeah.
Has it all been like that?
No, listen, I had to give you any money you like that Liverpool would concede the first goal in that game. I thought Leeds would come out absolutely flying. I thought they'd be really up for it, blow themselves out maybe, but that they'd score first. Probably could have done. They had a free header, didn't they, and a few other little bits and pieces, but fair play to Liverpool. Once they got the first one, they handled it quite well.
It's one of them, isn't it, Adam? It was needed from the fans' perspective. It was needed from the team perspective. No one kind of knows how the season's going to pan out from here on in, but you needed that sense of optimism. The big question's going to be is this another one of those freak results that all the big, because we've had so many big wins in isolation this season, or is it this is Liverpool, this is the new Liverpool with a bit more backbone to them? For me, it feels like that. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, that's what you'd like to think, absolutely. With that kind of result, there were so many kind of little positives where hopefully next season they'll be turning into bigger positives. Jota getting a couple, back, great to see him back amongst the goals. Like, I think back now, it just has to be Liverpool win, front three at score. We wouldn't concede very many, but that was give me a little glimpse back of, no disrespect to Leeds, but the opposition weren't fantastic, but you can only beat what's put in front of you, and I was really pleased to see that. Like you're saying, I think everyone had the same emotion as Klopp of, wow, that's what we were used to seeing the last 4 or 5 years, and it's about time we got excited about something, because he's saying it's been a hit and miss season. Hopefully we can actually pull something out the bag.
It was just nice to have the sense of control, Chris, where you feel like, because you put your trust in Liverpool. You put your happiness in them. That you're almost gambling with your happiness being a football fan on a week to week basis. And it's been a safe bet for 5 years. And this season it hasn't been. So actually to watch a game of footy, and we've talked about how would you want to see wins. I want to see any win. Actually, no, you don't want to see the Liverpool fluke 1-0 deflected win at this point. You actually need to know that it's within their influence, their sphere.
All I want to see is good footy at the moment. That's all I said before the game against Leeds. Is the results don't really matter too much now, because I don't think we can get top 4. Obviously, you want to get European football and stuff, but I've been bored watching Liverpool, to be quite honest with you. I found it a really hard watch, and I like footy for the football. I don't really like it for the transfers and the speculation and everything else that goes around it. I like watching footy. That's why I'm a football fan. So to watch boring football every single week, it's been killing me. Yeah. And then you get the defeats on top. I've been quite happy. I was happy with that 2-2 against Arsenal. Not because it was just Arsenal, but because the second half we played well. Yeah. That's the difference for me every single time. And as Adam says there, that thing at the end where there's 5 men around him, that's it. When someone closes the keeper down, I love that. When you put the heart and the effort in and you just leave it all on the pitch, that's what I love to see players do for our shirt.
Yeah, and that's that thing. That's why Klopp loved it, because he was asked, he was like why hasn't it been there? He was like, he's looked at everything. He's probably tried everything, every trick in the book, and then lo and behold, well, the answer is a little bit of put some of your younger, more energetic, hungrier players into a team because you can, and let them go, and that's what we saw today. And it's no surprise that he's made up with it, because everyone's made up with it.
What was disappointing a little bit of the season as a whole is why haven't they done that? There must be something why. I think sometimes it might just be confidence. It's weird, because you think if you were losing, you'd be more keen to do that, but maybe you haven't got the mental, you don't want to do it. Because when you're winning 6-1, that's when you might want to take your foot off the.
But we've always,
I don't know.
we've always thought. I know Chris has always had this thing where, because like you always say, you were a good swimmer as a kid. I remember saying to you and our mates, like, well, why don't you go and do it if you're good? And you're like, it would always annoy me not being as good as I used to be. And I often do wonder sometimes with a little bit of the lads is like, oh well, we're trying our best and we're worse than we were, and what a psychological thing that is of like, what's the point of me putting all my effort in if I can't be what I was? It's as a speculation.
Also, I naturally sink now.
I reckon you float.
You need a greater mass of water.
I need to swim in the fucking Dead Sea.
How often does he tell you about his swimming days then?
Oh,
Is that a regular thing?
Mate,
Is it?
you know.
Chris and I spent many a 2 a.m.
These are my badges, mate. Yeah. This is my 50 metre one. I've got my fucking 5 metre badge. Yeah, 50, 25. Fucking all of it.
Many a late night sat up on the one too many beers talking about the glory days.
There's a show as technique as well.
You wouldn't believe that I wrote a fucking project in school about swimming techniques. How sad is that? But I'll tell you one thing I am good at now. I'm faster now than I used to be, especially, well, only downhill.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Like the kids in Hulk.
Like the ball, like chasing Indiana Jones. Just like, just gather speed.
Downhill swimming. Like,
No, running.
Oh, I thought you meant swimming as well.
Down Niagara or like.
I was thinking like off the diving, but it's like you reach terminal velocity quicker or whatever.
Everyone's faster downhill swimming.
Yeah. Anyway, Steve, I apologise.
Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. No, yeah, but it was great to see. It was great to see like the way the Reds didn't go when Canate threw one in almost as well, because we've seen that too often this season. Liverpool have not acted well when they, to adversity. They haven't responded well.
Just not a big fan of dance troops.
Or equal.
No, not again.
Or equal opportunities.
They
They hate equal opportunities. No, but like, as soon as something went wrong, Liverpool of a few years ago would respond well. You know, they'd come back swinging. This Liverpool side went against the ropes and hit a little bit. So it was nice to see that, because as soon as that goal went in, I was like, oh no, here we go again. Like this, it's more likely to be 2-2 than it is 3-1. That's what it felt like.
We've had that all season, Steve.
And that's what it felt
We've
like,
said this, haven't we? Like, Liverpool score first, they look a different team. Liverpool concede, and that is just pure confidence.
You know what I think as well? I think it does more for the team's collective confidence to get that reaction from the away end, as opposed to I was very not cynical, but I wasn't as enamoured with the Arsenal stuff as some people, because I thought that's told me nothing about Liverpool. Like, of course they're going to do that at Anfield. They get up for it. They can come get a bit of a head of steam. I want to see them go to Ellen Road and do it, or the City Ground, or Bournemouth, or whoever. And when you see it, and obviously the away end was quite well placed right by the tunnel, wasn't it, with how it worked out, and you could see the reaction of the fans. It was a bit. I mean, there will have been a bit of, say, like, where have you been? But it was also, that really does give you that sense of, right, we're a little bit back here, but we're back on the road a little bit. It's not the same. I think, you know, Anfield's great, and when you get a good performance, the reaction can be unbelievable. But I think when you do it away from home as well, it must give you an awful lot of confidence. And you bring it on. You look, I mean, just look at the 4 subs they brought on at once, and then they brought Thiago on. So when you're sort of looking around and you're thinking, we're battering these, and now here's Milner, here's Firmino, here's Darwin, and here's Diaz. Yeah. You're thinking, right, this is a strong team again, isn't it?
And then Thiago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Thiago comes on for like 5 minutes at the end. You must be thinking, Leeds fans maybe were thinking, I thought these were gone. Like, you know, what's happened here? We've got them this week. You know, like that's, you know, Bournemouth. I was speaking to my Bournemouth mate. He said they're rubbish. Yeah. But that is sort of, it does restore a lot, I think. I think that's right. The away fans, we've had this running joke with Chloe. You know, who's been going predominantly to the aways for us, and she's having a horrible time of it. Like, you know what I mean? Just a horrible time. Getting on coaches at all times in the morning, travelling, then coming back, and look, what it is to be a football fan. We talk about the gamble, but you're right. It's almost it's a bit of repaying. It's a bit of repaying that, and it is going into the bear pit thing. You can see it can go both ways. Look at West Ham. They start really noisy against Newcastle. Newcastle shut them up because they outplay them. But when Arsenal come there, they don't get to shut them up properly. They fight back, and all of a sudden you're fighting against the atmosphere. So Liverpool did it well. Adam, I want to talk about Trent. Just a joy to watch him play when he plays like that, isn't it? What a talent, and being given the freedom to play.
I think that's what he needs. I think the freedom is exactly what's the right word to say. I think with Trent, he's come in, like, talk about time and place. It couldn't have been better for him. It was what we needed at that time, by the way we were trying to play. You know, obviously him on one side, Robertson on the other side, but we've all always said it. You know, we've seen show after show of people saying Sky, the saying, or anything like that, of he's got all the abilities to play in the midfield, but he weren't needed so much in the midfield at that stage. So I feel now, you know, was a good time to kind of to showcase. Well, look, I'm an option in there. Maybe then that might bring someone in the summer where he can free him up a little bit more, and then what would he be worth in midfield? So obviously, we're looking to sign midfielders. So I think he's definitely one of the answers for me. He's got every pass in the book. He's intelligent, and he's learned now. He's kind of his trade as a right back, but don't forget he's always has been. All the way I've known him is only as a centre midfielder until he broke into the first team.
I was going to ask that, Adam. Do you hear noises about people like usually 4 or 5 years younger than you? Do you hear noises about these lads who you think they're going to be first teamers? Did you hear about Trent?
I heard about Trent for sure. To be fair, I was relatively close, obviously, with him because obviously scouser and stuff like that. So you know, you'd be playing on one pitch next to him, but it'd be like this kid Trent, watch him. And then, like you're saying, you get familiar with these people, and it was the same with. Don't get me wrong. There's been countless people who'd say, "Look out for him." Remember the lad Larry Della Valle? There used to be, watch him, and obviously that didn't end up in Mountain to Nottingham. But so you hear these things, but to see what he's went on and done at the time, you know, you wouldn't have expected that from him. But obviously, as he's grown into his body a lot more, adapted to his game a lot more. Because like I'm saying, he was just a centre midfielder. Kind of the odd time he might have played in defence, but I wouldn't have ever seen that. But I'd seen him predominantly as a midfielder. I think it was the breath of fresh air seeing him come into that first team. But there was a time when people were saying he's the best passer in world football, up there with De Bruyne, up there with all the likes of them. So, you know, to see him now, what he's doing, it's not normal.
Follow up to that then. Lots of people have been saying, and I think I've probably said this myself, and in fact I've definitely said this myself, about like you worry about him as an 8 maybe, because you know he's got all the space, he's got all the time in the world as a fullback, the game's in ahead of him. When he was a midfielder, did he have any problems?
I think at that age he was probably just better than everyone, but coming on to that point, I could never see him as a kind of a quarterback number 6 because of, you know, he wants to attack, and we've been so privileged as a team we'll score more than you. It doesn't matter. Like, so we'd afford of what an amazing player, nothing you, but his kind of, the one negative people say is one-on-one defending or something like that, because he wants to go that way so much. I feel like he can only really be an 8. You know, I think the number 10 has got to be the magic man, I suppose, but the 8 is kind of the playmaker, but doesn't have all the responsibility of a Fabinho to kind of take yellow cards and stop a break. I'm unsure whether he'd be able to do that as much better than somebody else, but I think in that 8 position he can be fantastic.
Thomas Frank actually was interviewed for Premier League Productions, and he was talking about this, and I think it's wild because I was just sat around thinking about Trent the other day. Just like,
Same, mate, same.
Yeah, just imagine him sat there with a latte, just having a good think about what he'd do with Trent Alexander-Arnold, like, you know, which is nowhere near as filthy as it sounded when I said it out loud. But he talked, Neil, about this idea of he thinks he can go into midfield, and he thinks moreover it'll be situational, because the moment we kind of do this, don't we see something. We had this when we were playing 4 up front at the start, for a bit of the stage. This is it now, this is the formation, it's going to be this, it's going to be all this forever, whereas there's a reality, and he says there'll be games where you've got loads of the ball, by all means start him at right back and then he drifts into midfield, and that's fine, but there might be other games where you require a little bit more stability, and they're the games where you actually do just put him in midfield for those ones.
Yeah, I think there's another element to it as well. I think obviously football's trendy, isn't it? And tactics sort of go down that route a little bit. And there was a trend, probably Trent was right at the centre of it, where it was attacking fullbacks. Your width came from your fullbacks. Your wide players came in field, and that was where it happened. And your centre back split, and your holding midfielder dropped in. And I think a lot of teams have done quite well at turning that strength into into a potential weakness as well, and putting a left winger who pins an attacking fullback back, or if he doesn't pin him back, he exploits the space, and we've seen Liverpool struggle with that. I think we've seen Chelsea struggle with it at times as well. Probably City would say the same on counter-attacking teams. So what's the solution to that? The solution is either you just carry on and you say, no, we'll work through it, or you try and find other ones. And Guardiola's done it quite well, hasn't he, with moving fullback sort of infield and trying to get them space that way. Maybe asking your wide midfielders to go out wider, or your wide forwards to stay out wider. So there's a little bit of that, and I think it's a way of Liverpool saying, well, how do you minimise the sort of weakness of having Trent in your team, and how do you expose the strength? Of course, the other one is it's Leeds. Let's just wait and see what comes in other games. We might see him on Saturday do it against Nottingham Forest, and it doesn't work out, and you might say, "Oh God, we've got exploited there." So there's a lot to come in there, but I think the main thing that's come out of the game is it's an option, isn't it? It's something that you could look at, even if you just play Leeds. You can put him in there. You've got that, and I mean, it's interesting because it's the first time it's ever really occurred to me this week was when he's in that position that De Bruyne is in. He's probably as good as De Bruyne, isn't he? We've never really seen him. The one thing we've never seen him do, we've never seen him stride with the ball like De Bruyne does. So De Bruyne can chew up ground, can't he, between box to box. You've never really seen Trent do that. I feel like he doesn't use his running power as much as I think he could.
You don't see it when he's legging back there.
Yeah, or not. Yeah. But I mean, the other thing is you've never seen De Bruyne in that. Well, I wonder what De Bruyne would look like playing right back.
Vinicius Junior up against them.
He's still out
spun around.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it would be interesting to see whether he could just move. You could just get, even if it's in 5 games a season or whatever, just seeing if you could get that kind of output from him, because to use a golf analogy, I'm sorry, I've started playing golf, so I'm going on about it a bit, but he has got every club, hasn't he? He's not just a whip it Beckham style crosses in. He's got the left foot, the right foot. He's got the short pass. You see the one he played for Darwin on Monday. He played a very similar one at Newcastle, didn't he? Almost identical pass. So he's got everything there that can be a really influential player. And I think probably the other big thing that came out of Monday is he just looked like he loved it, didn't he? He just looked like he loved having the ball, and it wasn't a little bit like you can get into that rut of all eyes are on me. I think he relished that sort of idea, didn't he? Come on, I'll go and get the ball off Fabinho, and I'll go and get it, and I'll let me have it.
It reminded me, just in you saying that, Steve, like a bit like Jordan Henderson away at Southampton in 18-19, of like Jordan's going, I don't want to do the 6 anymore. Can you let me go and have a go in my position? And you're I'm not really sure. Oh, go on, I twist your hand. But it's on you. When you make that call, it's on you. And I feel a little bit like Trent going, go on, just let me have a go and see what happens. And he looked like a lad, as Neil's saying there, who just relished the chance to showcase what he's got to be able to grab the game and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's part of the leadership group, and I've always wondered, I wonder why Trent's in that ahead of like certain other players, like Mo Salah, for example, just in general. But when he, I don't know the phrase, but like he was feeling himself, he felt like the main man, because you could tell like he's telling Fabinho what to do, he's asking for the ball off him, and he's going to Van Dijk, don't worry about it, I'll give it to me, and that's amazing.
Were you just concerned there as a middle-aged man from Croxteth that you couldn't use the expression feeling himself there for a second? I was going to say feel his onions or something. Yeah.
That's much worse.
Yeah. That's why I stopped myself. Thanks for making me go back to it anyway. But just in general, like you could tell like he was full of confidence, and that's amazing. I found the most thing I found interesting was Jürgen. When asked about it, the first thing he said was like, "Yeah, they stopped us getting counter-attacked."
Stability.
Stability. Like, as much as great as Trent was on the ball, I think the point was we can bomb everyone forward, but oh my God, every time someone breaks on us, we're knackered and we can't chase them back. And how many times have Liverpool let goals like that?
They weren't giving the ball away. That was the other thing.
And that helps as well.
It's a lot easier to give the ball away from right back, isn't it, than it is from midfield, because you've got fewer.
I was going to say, it's the first time I saw him passing right. Usually that just end up in the stands. So I was like, oh yeah, he can go do that. Like he found Hendo a couple of times.
I reckon his neck would have been hurting the next day because he's never turned right either.
With his confidence though, it's like you're saying, Fabinho's obviously a more seasoned pro to him, but Trent knows I'm better on the ball than you. Yeah. You know what I mean? He does a certain role in the team. So like you're saying, it was refreshing to see him go in there and not think, like you're saying, everyone is expecting this. His shoulders rose and said, give me the ball. Yeah. And that's what we want to see. We want to see what we've all wanted to see for ages. Can he do it? Can he do it in the Premier? Yeah, he done it under 18 there. But it was a little bit of a glimpse of, he stepped up And he's thinking, no, don't worry about you. Give me the ball. I'll do it. Yeah. You do your job of, in the most respectful way, kind of, you stop the attacks. I'll make them happen. And then let our magic shine up front. But
I also thought that it was interesting. Like, it wasn't just like, because you can get into a point where you can just go long ball every time. And you can go Hollywood style.
Hollywood
like,
ball, yeah,
he was so good at finding Gakpo and Jones with like 5-yard little forward passes, which I always say I think that's Thiago's biggest strength. When we miss Thiago, it's that little ball inside because we haven't really got any. Fabinho, not really, doesn't really want to do it. Henderson is more sideways a little bit.
Wayne Rooney said the best midfielder he ever played with was Michael Carrick. Just to give him for that one, he said for those 15-yard passes where I'd come into the 10 and he'd just find me every single time. He said
that's gaining confidence as a player. Though just he might like Trent's that good. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't think we appreciate how actually good on the ball he is because we've been spoiled by it. And what we were saying before of like you've never seen him get out his feet and drive at someone. Like what comes to mind when you say that is the Gerrard, his first goal, the bang Sheffield Wednesday, but because he doesn't need to, his passing that good. He can find any point on the pitch. But I think if he does stay in midfield as time goes on, he'll have to adapt that to his game because he'll just put someone like Park Ji-sung, what he used to do, then he just man-mark someone, put up against them. Then you've got to then find something else in your arsenal, like where he has got every club, but there's got to be more to that. So I think
suppose then, though,
he could
just go back to right back, couldn't he? You know, if it's going to be out, come and follow me over. Come and follow me over here then, lads.
Henderson needed so much credit for kind of helping out Trent at right back, didn't he? But like, unfortunately, it's looking that Henderson can't get round as much as he'd love to because there's no one in that team would love his running more than him. Maybe Milner, but you know the same's happened to Milner. Milner couldn't play 3 games in a week. I wouldn't say so, even though he'll win every test and all that. But I think now's the right time for me to stick him in there now. But give him a chance because, like you said, it doesn't look like we've got a lot to play for this season. But
I think also as well, it depends who's fit and available, doesn't it? So definitely. I don't think you can do. We spoke about it yesterday. Joel Matip. If Joel Matip's playing right centre back, I don't think you can do that. You can't leave him to handle a forward and a left. Yeah, it's got to be that. I think Henderson has to be in the team at the moment, certainly, because just of the natural sort of spotting the gaps and where to stand.
The other thing on that is if Freeze end up to press more without knowing that he has to get all the way back there.
Yeah.
So actually it helps in another way is that Liverpool win the ball back higher up the pitch more often. Liverpool get the ball. We had 75% possession or whatever it is. You put Elliott in there for Henderson, creatively much better probably than Jordan, but not quite at the level of a presser that Henderson is, and that then makes it a little bit more unbalanced maybe.
Yeah, and if Thiago's starting as well, what are you going to do? You can't have both of them on the ball. You need that right balance, don't you? And I like it was telling. I think that Jürgen in his press conference said Curtis and Jordan was sort of the key men because they set everything off, and they're probably the two most energetic midfielders Liverpool have got, aren't they? You know, in terms of covering distance and okay, Milner's there as well, but really in terms of starting midfielders for Liverpool, they're the two that've got the lungs, really, aren't they? Out of everyone, it does change if you've got a Thiago in there. I mean, look. Who are they going to sign in the summer? There's some new players coming in, but it might influence the type of player they sign in the sense of they might say, you know what, we just want some system players here. We don't want to sort of go after the big name, the superstars who are going to sort of get everyone's pulses racing. We want players who are going to work brilliantly with him, with him.
I think this is Liverpool's plan. I think it was Liverpool's plan. And I think it was probably going to be introduced a little bit earlier than it has been because of injuries and all that type of stuff. And I think it's something you've said, actually, to be fair. But I think now, looking back at all the rumours of the transfers over the last month, 2 months, it kind of makes sense. Like the Caicedo rumours, maybe not as much anymore because I think he's more that.
What you mean, like Mount, for example?
Yeah, Caicedo maybe, proper 6. Probably not going to play in one of them. Cooled off those rumours. But the Mount ones, the McAllister ones, the Gravenberch ones, all those ones. If we hadn't played this formation, you'd be looking at those going, really? In Liverpool's 4-3-3? All of them? But now it makes sense. Those players make absolute perfect sense because Gravenberch could play one of those sort of advanced states. Mount definitely can play one of those. And McAllister can do either role. Probably Gravenberch might be able to do either role as well. So you've got a bit of versatility in there. So I think that, you know, it is the plan for next season now. I think that's it. Like, this is how we're going to roll into next season.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just lastly on the Trent thing, it's, you have these moments when you're watching football. I remember Gary Lineker talking about Wayne Rooney and saying, like, the first time he watched him play, he's like, they've got a player there. But just watching Trent, it was like seeing a player come of age. It was mad. It was like, you know, really proud moments, weirdly, of like watching him going like, oh, you know, like we've always had our doubts, and you're right, Neil, that those doubts might well have founding. You know, we might play different types of games that might not suit him or whatever, but to see him like that and get him to see him play with the freedom of the pitch and to play the give and goes and actually be so passionate about the role that he's doing, he's offering for everyone, he's running constantly. It was and I described him in a couple of places now as like Stevie-esque, and I mean the Stevie that we, earlier days Stevie, or best Stevie, Istanbul era Stevie, every blade of grass Steven Gerrard, Beckham in the 2000s, England's Beckham, where he would go wherever the game required him to go because he had the energy for it. Yeah. And I could finally see Trent do that, which I think is just so exciting.
I thought, sorry, just to pick you up on it, I agree in the sense, and also I think what you might have also seen is the confidence he gained from on the ball manifested itself off the ball. So I'll go and do, and so maybe there is an element that we talk about. He can't defend, or he doesn't want to defend. He's not a natural defender. Maybe that feeling of being exposed quite a lot is sort of that influences you. Whether you want to go and bite, or you want to go and get stuck right in, or you want to, you actually want to go and do it. But it was almost like this is a boss game. This isn't. Yeah. I mean, I'm not half enjoying myself. I'll go and tackle him. You know, like it was almost a little bit like that. There was a couple of things he did in the game where I thought, mate, if you've done that a few more times this season, like we wouldn't even be having a conversation about you. But you know, maybe something's gone. Maybe there's been some harsh talks. Maybe he's had a carpet, and you know he didn't start Chelsea, wasn't he? He didn't start at Stamford. But maybe he's had, you know, a little, not an ultimatum, but a little bit of a, mate, like, you're going to have to improve. Maybe the World Cup spooked him. Maybe the fact that he's in 2 years left on his contract, and he's thinking, well, what happens if Liverpool say we're not giving you what you think you're going to get? You know, there's a lot of things that could fire someone up, but it looks like it's worked.
I remember saying 2, maybe even 3 years ago, saying if he only stays at this level, he'll be the best right back to ever play in the league and possibly ever in Europe, because that was the level he was playing at like 21. And that remained true. The game might have altered and might have adapted, and you know that legacy, that future written in stone legacy, has been in question this season. But there's also a little part of it, you know, like the World Cup and the England thing. It might be a little bit of a freedom there of now, of like, well, fuck Southgate, fuck England. I'll just go and do what I want to do. I'll go and play my game, and if I've enjoyed myself and I'm playing to the highest level, they'll come crawling back at some point, or I'll have loads more fitness to run the game for Liverpool.
I'll be honest, I think it's more the freedom one. You went right back at the start. It's easier to try something when you're not worried if you give the ball away that no one's there. Yeah. You know what I mean? If I've got to go and chase Vinicius or Zaha again, and one thing Trent isn't, he isn't actually that fast, you know, in terms of space. So I always felt that with him, like if you give the ball away where he like, the start of the season, he was kind of doing something midfieldy, but there was no one covering him.
He's had the midfield giving the ball away all season. He's like, fucking look, let me show you how it's done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll take it and won't give it away, and no one will have to chase it.
With Trent, it's been like, he'd come in and just, it was kind of, he was never in any threat, so kind of, he was coasting a little bit. Because he was doing so well, he was coasting and coasting. This is probably, thinking of top, his first year where he's been really questioned, and the team have been really questioned probably for the last 5 years. And there'll be an element of, right, like you're saying, they're in there, they're not daft. They probably think, season could be done. Look, let me go and enjoy it. Let me go and state my claim for, that's where I really want to be. Like, because, think about it, I wouldn't want Vinicius running at me every week. It was, you know what I mean?
Reece James had a tough enough time against him, didn't he?
You know, when you see him, like, it was him and him competing, Reece James and Trent, like, who's the best? But Trent can do something. Reece James couldn't go midfield, but Trent can, and I think that's where he's always wanted to be. But if you're playing in a winning team, like, winning becomes a habit and it filters through the club. And I think now it's the biggest transition period we've had, probably 5-6 years. And I think he's young enough, he knows, like you're saying, the contract might be coming up. He's thinking, well, the next forward momentum, that's where I really want to be. Let me try and showcase it now. But it was so interesting what you said is, we want to be a team again where it might be time and place. Okay, Leeds away, we'll play you in there. But if not, we can trust you there as well. So it's any God-given game. He can be available in both, but he's staking a big claim in now.
He just looked like a fucking leader.
Yeah,
to be honest, when he played in the centre mid, he never comes across like a leader. Right back, he comes across like a brilliant player.
Yeah,
he looked like a leader in centre mid.
And look, it's one of you're going to build your team around a player, build it around the homegrown, natural, generational talent who's in the prime of his career.
I thought he'd do better in the midfield at Anfield, but it was so like where he went away. It was like Leeds isn't an easy place to go. We made it look easy, but like. Over the years, right? Thinking about Leeds, I remember Viduka scoring 4. You know what I mean? I remember where I went that day. But like, it's never been an easy place to go. So I'd think like home crowd behind him, you'd ease him in that way. But you know, he hasn't went to Old Trafford and done it. Don't get me wrong. But you know, the odds was up a little bit up against them because then they've got to be like that. Leeds are normally in your face and like they start like an house on fire.
He broke them as well.
He just nullified it.
He's just done it against the best team in the league and effectively the worst defence in the league. You know, in the space of a week. If you're going to put a basis in for something, that's as pretty good as you're going to get because it immediately writes off he's only done it against He's done it at both ends, right? We're going to move things on. We're going to be doing our ranking of the Liverpool Premier League era cult heroes. That is after this very short break. Hey, stop what you're doing right now. Prepare yourself, prepare your family, prepare your kids, prepare your babysitters, because on Friday the 5th of May, we are having a quiz night, party night at Hotel Anfield, and the tickets are available right now, but your time to get them is running very, very short. If you like Liverpool trivia, if you like Liverpool songs, if you like just laughter and happiness in your life, then come down to Hotel Anfield on Friday the 5th of May. The tickets are available right now on Ticket Quarter. The link will be there or thereabouts. Get involved, get your tickets bought, and come and party with us. It's going to be Liverpool trivia, it's going to be Liverpool games, Liverpool challenges, it's going to be amazing prizes on offer, and Dave Jaggs from the Ragamuffins is going to be playing live music as well. So come and join me, Chris Pajak, for the biggest party night in advance of the Liverpool-Brentford game. And yeah, maybe win yourself some boss prizes, have a good time, and put some smiles back on some red faces. Yes, welcome back to Thursday Night Pint. We're going to be ranking Liverpool's Premier League era cult heroes in a second. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, grab your tickets for our live event coming up on the 5th of May. It is the night before the Brentford game, so if you're going to be around town or looking to extend your weekend fun, come and join us and have a boss laugh with some nice bevies, some Liverpool trivia, some games, and some general Redmen antics.
I've been practicing me one-handed cartwheel, especially for the quiz night.
I thought you were going to say you're swimming.
No. But you know, when Adam was
Downhill
talking
swimming.
before about, like, you know, when you win in team and you gain confidence, I was
Yeah.
thinking back to me swimming days then.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember what you're talking about.
What stroke was your biggest?
Butterfly, believe it or not.
Butterfly, yeah.
Fuck off. Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. Steve.
He was so shocked there. He was so shocked.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Used to go and train at the fucking Sheffield pool and all kinds. Like, 'cause never had a 50-metre pool, yeah. So we used to travel up there. We used to swim like 8 times a week and all kinds. I know it's hard to believe now, like, but...
I'm just...
Look at me. Hard to believe I played for the Reds, but I have. I'm not a lager on a Thursday.
And that's why you're not playing for
Because it used to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Not in the squad Saturday. Don't enjoy yourself.
Right, so I've got a list of names. I think it's 11 or 12 names here. We're going to work through. There's some consideration points on this. So, because I asked our club legends to give me a bunch of Liverpool cult heroes, and we got some really big names in there. There's one or two that I chucked in immediately, and then when I went and checked, because I wanted them to have played less than 100 times. Because I think you can be a cult hero who's played more than 100 times, but just for the sake of a bit of uniformity across it, I think you're crossing over into a different bracket there. So it meant no Luis Garcia, it meant no Igor Biscan, which I was a little upset for. It meant no Origi.
Nah, you've got this wrong.
Yeah.
He's too good to be a cult hero.
Exactly.
I mean, to be honest, he should just be number one, shouldn't he? I think.
There you go.
I think that's almost like.
I think he's just a hero.
Your second to fifth cult hero. He is number one.
I've heard this phrase
he's a
a lot.
cult legend.
No, I've
How
heard
many
this.
games has he done? More than 100. 120,
How many
I reckon.
yeah,
How many starts though?
Yeah.
That's true.
I
So
don't
then-
reckon he can be a cult hero.
Neil's
level.
right, he should be.
For the
He's
sake-
in terms of
He's just a hero.
cult heroes, he's a generational talent.
If you want to go and print another one off upstairs, be the absolute guest.
I would say a cult hero is someone who he would never ever be in the equation for the best Liverpool 11. That's how I would say it. You know, that's how a cult hero is.
I think for me, it's brightly but shortly. I think it's the kind of player that you take to your heart and you love, but for no reason other than they maybe scored a good goal or they had a good song,
did something funny.
You know, and this is why I moved it to the under 100 because I think there's a middle category that you talk about there. Because again, like I say, Igor Biscan falls into that. I mean, if people adored him. My uncle thought he was the worst player ever to play for the football club, but ultimately that's the way it goes. You know, it becomes an integral part in the Istanbul season. So I'm going to start. The first name I've got is Titi Kamara. Where do we think... The one rule, is that we can only have one person at number 1 on the ranking board.
Okay.
So we've got 1 to 5 on the ranking. If you were
Who else is in here? Because when there's no one else, he's pretty high up.
We can move them around. They're not staying fixed.
Let's start them at 1.
They're not glued.
Let's start them at 1 and then we'll move
And then,
to one above them if we
That's
need
a
to.
great... That is a great technique.
Okay. Give me some thoughts on
He's done this before. You've done this before.
No, I
haven't you? This
haven't.
kind of thought
I watched the show
format.
last week and it was a shambles. So that's why
He's got a board upstairs with all the women's Instagram followers. It's exactly the same. He's like, yep, she's number 1. Oh no, she's now down to number 2.
It's like MySpace for your top 8. all the viewers there. The thing I always remember about Titi Kamara was for years he was the last person who scored a winning goal at Highbury or again away at Arsenal for years. I think it was Dalglish's team that maybe stopped or took that sort of mantle. Maybe Suarez. And that's the moment I remember of him really was him going clean through at Highbury in the green kit with the sort of the Patrick Berger Old Trafford kit. And I remember him scoring. I thought he was rubbish. Titi Kamara. I said to go back to that point when he was clean through, it was like he won't score this, and he buried it. But yeah, he fits cult hero definitely.
I loved him.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved him to bits. Like, why wouldn't you? He was the first cult hero I had, I think.
Yeah.
He's a bit crap though, probably that's why people don't like him.
But that's what I mean. He had like one season where he come in and he scored a few big goals. And he did that famous moment where his dad had died and he played against West Ham.
West
and
Ham,
he scored
beauty as well,
and
wasn't it?
burst into tears in the
I also
celebration.
think the
And
fact
all
that
that.
his name's TT is quite funny.
Yeah. Look, I'd have been about 15 at this point, and that was enough. You know, enough to be a legend.
He was in amongst a good crop as well, wasn't he? You know, like considering he never was Fowler, Owen, Heskey probably around that time as well. Who else with the Riedler? Possibly Karl-Heinz Riedler, yeah. So yeah, he did well to get some goals in some games, didn't he?
37 appearances, 10 goals, 2 assists for the club
1 in 3.
in that time.
There you go.
It's not really. Goal involvements.
That's how I was maths. Okay, well, next on the list is the big Dutchman himself, Eric Meyer. Better or more or less of a cult hero than Titi Kamara?
I don't remember him really.
Well,
I think this was like borderline my time.
He, as a player, or what he did for Liverpool, obviously below Titi Kamara, but probably fits the cult hero more than Titi Kamara because he was about
Get him down. I agree.
It was about personality. He was a bit mad, wasn't he? The big mad Dutchman. I spoke to a few players from that era. John Newby was one that I interviewed not so long ago, and he was saying that he used to play in the resis with him quite a lot. You know, with Eric Meyer, maybe when he wasn't getting a game for Liverpool, and he said he was a character. Like he was off his head. He'd just go and tackle anything. I always remember Chris Bascom telling me a story about him getting Basco in some sort of wrestling move or slash headlock slash wrestling move about something.
Please tell me it was a full Nelson.
Yeah, well, it was something, but it was basically like Basco must have done something. I don't know if it was in the Cop magazine or the Echo, but it was something like, "Is this the best strike force?" Now it was after Heskey had signed. So it was, "Is this the best strike force in England?" You know, Fowler, Owen, Heskey, and Eric Meyer sort of collared him at Melwood from like unexpectedly and just said, "Where's the big Dutchman?" and like had him in some sort of like thing. So I always think about him as a more of a character, but he did far less for Liverpool.
Kind of like the
than
idea
Titi
of him
Kamara.
rolling him into a sharpshooter now. as he walks into Melwood.
Yeah, or just a full gorilla press, like, over his head.
Massive little fella in as well, just spinning him on his finger.
Bless him, Chris.
The Harlem Globetrotters.
Top rope.
Chris Bascom's had a tough time later. Let's leave it. He 27 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists in that time. You're right in so much as there's a few of these. Like, I didn't put Sean Dundee on the list because I think he's a step even further below that of like, he's almost like
He
a top
never
trump.
made it to cult hero.
Yeah, it's like top trumps of obscure Liverpool players. That's what those players fall into. Like Jean-Michel Ferry's obviously the top trump of the most obscure players ever to play for Liverpool. And Sean Dundee and Eric Meyer, for me, are slightly more that. Titi Kamara actually had impact.
I think you've got to have done something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like one of them goals might have been against like Hull.
I think he got both of them maybe against Hull. It was the game,
Leighton Maxwell
game. Yeah. I was thinking about Sean Dundee. I don't think I ever saw him play. I couldn't tell you what he looked like. Sean Dundee. I think his name sort of was the best thing about him, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, crocodile.
Wasn't even involved in this show. You've absolutely nailed
No,
it.
but I think from a Liverpool point of view. All right, well, you tell me your favourite Sean Dundee moment.
Poor Sean sitting there home going, what the fuck? He's taking absolute strays.
I'm staying out of this one. I don't know what to do with that. No one knows what to do with that.
Okay, well, yeah, I think so. We seem to have Eric Meyer above Titi Kamara at the moment. Why have we done that?
It's in height order.
All right, then. In terms of cult hero.
No, I think he's got to be
less
below
than
Cameron,
Titi
hasn't
Kamara.
he?
Were you the one who put him at the top?
No, I wasn't. I said in terms of he fits the cult hero, but if we're having Cameron as a cult hero, he's done more for Liverpool, hasn't he?
Yeah. I totally agree on that one. Thank you. I'm just quickly trying to see if I can get Sean Dundee's stats up while we've got it.
Oh, Sean, leave him alone.
He made 5 appearances for the club. I didn't know that. It's telling that I remember your performances for the club more than Sean Dundee. And Sean Dundee was like a summer signing. Everyone got quite excited when we brought.
Have you got how old would they have been? Because I can't remember.
This
I've
is
heard the name.
Same here.
It's like similar. Like honestly, I can know the name.
Yeah,
no thing, but I can't remember seeing him.
I think Sean Dundee's got a football game named
can you
after
just
him.
check on that? I'm trying to think now. I think I've got a memory of Sean Dundee. Did he play against Valencia in the game where Steve McManaman was sent off?
Let me see.
Was that Eric Meyer?
Against Valencia.
I remember they were down to like 9 men.
Okay.
Down to like 9 men, and he was playing right back pretty much, just kicking it up the field.
You're too good for this show now.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the next one on the list. Gary Mack.
It's one in it.
Gary McAllister.
One in it.
See, I know you've done it on appearances, but I think he's too good. But he is the cult hero.
87 appearances for Liverpool.
And also, it was the Sean Bright quick thing, you know what I mean? He had a year and a half.
Yeah.
He was 35 when we brought him in.
What a player he's been for that club.
Mate, he is unbelievable. And
The free kick alone, it gets mentioned every time we have a free kick from 35 yards.
It's all
Remember Gary Mack?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, how many years ago was that free kick?
Oh, that'd have been good or somewhere in it.
Yeah, Easter Monday,
2001,
wasn't
wasn't
it?
it?
Easter Monday, yeah. And then
Oh, yeah,
obviously
this treble season, weren't it? Of course.
scored in the UEFA Cup final, didn't he? Penalty.
Roma Pen, weren't it?
Wrote
Roma Pen.
Well, his song was the
Gary
best
Mack, Gary
song.
Mack. Oh, that was
And he's
it.
bald and represent.
I remember that when he signed, I mishearing a mate of mine who said Liverpool signed Gary McAllister. It was before the Twitter days, obviously. And I remember thinking he'd said Gary Pallister and thinking, that's all right, yeah, I'll take that, you know, like a little centre back, yeah, get that in. And then I was like, oh, no, it's Gary McAllister.
Following the Paul
He's so
Ince
old, he was so old, wasn't he? But
Well,
I think it's probably telling that a lot of people probably remember him as a Liverpool player, even though he only had maybe a season and a half. I think a lot of people would see him as Gary McAllister. Oh yeah, he played for Liverpool.
His knees look sore, didn't he? Looked like when we used to run, nobody used to have no, he did like say he had the Reebok boots on, didn't he? The black with the biggest thing, yeah. And he was like, but for me, like other than the striker kind of, he was my favourite. I loved him. Yeah. I loved it. Even my nan used to know him. Like, it's just because he was. That's what Farhad knows as a cult hero. Like when all your family don't love football, know him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Gerrard speak about him. Gerrard says, like, you know, when he was a young, impressionable midfielder, he said Gary McAllister was like sort of almost like you'd copy the way he'd do his tie, you know, on his club suit and stuff like that. He was like really so influential.
Like, man as well. Like even though he didn't look it, he probably like he just
Bald and Scottish.
bald and
there's a
Scottish.
level of-
Did he win the league with Leeds?
Yeah, with like David Batty and Gary Speed, and he was
He was so good.
We had
real good player.
just to go back. We've had a super chat from Liam Bento, who says Sean Dundee has cult legend status here in South Africa.
There you go.
There you go. So he's got it somewhere. Doesn't make the board, but if he's got something going for him. Yeah, Gary Mack. So far, so
He'll be hard to
tight.
beat.
I don't think he can be
You can,
moved.
there's no better songs, so you can't really beat him.
Ooh, I don't know about
No,
that.
but I think other than in cult hero songs, there's better songs than Gary Mack, though, isn't there?
Oh, for
that
these guys.
Oh, for them, yeah.
Again, Bald, represent.
See, I don't want to carry on. What's the best songs? Garcia's song, surely.
Bobby
Yari,
Firmino.
Littman, and
Firmino was sick as well.
Yari Littman's next up. Another one, actually.
I love Jai Littman.
He was too good to. He's fallen off a cliff to end up as a cult hero because he shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
He should have been so much better than that.
2 years too late.
He's the only player when I've been working on a game that I've asked for a selfie with when I've been like there as a job.
And did you get it?
Yeah, obviously. I loved him. I thought when we signed him and then that Leverkusen goal and stuff, I adored him. But then, speaking of bad knees, I think was that him? Like he was
It's funny, I think people think he was like, they see him a little bit like Gary McAllister, don't they? Like he was sort of late 30s, but he's 29. 29 when when he signed for Liverpool.
I would have thought he was later on.
But he was like, on my era, well, all our eras, I guess, was that like the ITV Champions League era, and obviously only one English club, and if they went out early, you ended up with Ajax on ITV or AC Milan or whoever, and so you remember him being like, oh my god, how good a player was he when he was at Ajax with De Boer and Kluivert and all them, and he came to Liverpool and it didn't really work for him, did it? But
that
my
Ajax
granddad
team
used to call him the lockpicker, and he never had a nickname for. He never ever come up with a nickname for any other player. But I always remember he used to go, oh, Littman and the lockpicker, and I just thought that was like what he was known as. Yeah. I don't think he was. I think that was just
articles.
That was
about
just
in a different language,
that was just
like
Mal
Suarez
Kelly.
and everyone.
Yeah, Mal Kelly just come up with the lockpicker and it stuck in our house.
Yeah, fantastic football.
Where's he go then?
43 appearances, 9 goals and 6 assists.
I think
is that assist against Man City, is it? The one where he's got his back to like the whole pitch and he kind of spins his body and plays this through, but yeah.
I remember him for
I think he should go above Maya, but below Kamara.
I remember the goal at Villa when the ball at the ref's back. That was, and then it was like an open goal because I think Schmeichel kicked the ball at the ref, and then he just scored.
First
now
time.
obviously that would blown dead. But then when he scored in Leverkusen, it was away, wasn't it? And I remember I've been telling my mates for ages, he's boss. Why isn't he playing? And they were like, fuck off, he's crap. And then he scored. I was like, I told yous. And then obviously got beat anyway.
You alright with that? You don't look like you want to let go of him. You're just kind of staring at him.
Touch this
It's like he's holding it like he held that selfie.
Yeah. You know the worst thing with that selfie was going back to the ball problem. I took it with the sun behind me.
Oh no.
And,
Was that a Legends game, was it?
Yeah. And it looks like half my head was bitten off because the sun's shining on it. It looks like I'm a shark attack victim.
Bitten off.
Absolute horrendous.
On the subject of cult heroes with great songs, Maxi Rodriguez.
That's a better song. Or
See,
that's a better
I
song.
don't think it is better than the Gary Mack song.
No, it's not.
It's not. Have you ever been in a pub in fucking Germany with 250 Germans singing the Gary Mack song as he walked into a building? No, you haven't. And I tell you what, it's not getting beaten.
I love the Maxi song. Is he a cult hero?
I don't think he's a cult hero.
Okay.
He got a couple of hat-tricks, didn't he, in a row? So he had a little bit of form, didn't he, in that, like, but...
He was Kenny Dalglish. He had like a goal
he
scoring.
He was one of the better players of that period.
73 appearances for the club, 17 goals, 6 assists in that time.
When I'm thinking cult hero, I'm not thinking Maxi Rodriguez.
Maybe the song is more cult than the
That's what
than
I
the
mean,
player.
yeah.
I would say. I mean, he was a very good player, wasn't he? I remember one of the best World Cup goals you've ever seen. Chest and volley, 2006, wasn't it?
He's only just retired, hasn't he?
Yeah, it was a brilliant clip of him, sort of like getting this unbelievable send off, wasn't it? Was it those old boys or what? Yeah, and he was obviously so well guarded, wasn't he, back in Argentina? But
I'll put him at 5 for now, but he's in danger of falling off.
It's harsh, that.
But he's not a cult hero.
I don't think he's a cult hero, though.
I think he probably goes in the Littman category.
It's harsh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Slipman in that.
I tell you, he's up there. I think he's the best player on the board, but I think he's the lowest cult hero.
Ooh, okay.
What you mean, as best player for Liverpool on the board?
I think
Yeah,
he's in.
absolutely.
I think he's in the Yari Littman category.
Okay.
But
I think he might be too good.
I think Eric
That's
Myers
just,
more
that's
of a
just a great
Coltero
player
than-
category, the number 3, isn't it? But,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
So far.
He was a shining light in a pretty dark sort of time for heroes, really, wasn't he? You know, sort of in between the Torres-Suarez era.
yeah.
Who was it, Fulham and Aston Villa? He was asked 2 hat-tricks in a
Yeah,
row,
definitely
weren't
one
he?
of Fulham, didn't he?
With
I
the
remember
banger, he
that.
scored the banger, cuts inside, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, we're heading to a little glut of more defensive players here. I want to see how this impacts people's decisions. First one is Mamadou Sakho.
Oh, fuck off.
He's not a Coltero.
He absolutely was.
How is he a Coltero?
Because people loved him and he was rubbish.
He was crap.
Nah, mate, he's not going on the board.
I don't think he goes on the board either, you know. I don't think he goes on the board.
He definitely had a year where, in the Twitter era, he was a cult hero, the Scouse soldier, and he obviously had done a lot of work for charity in the city, didn't he? With An Hour for Others, wasn't it, when he went and done some painting with them. He's obviously got the distinction of being like the only person Jurgen Klopp's probably ever fell out with, like at Liverpool in his time at Liverpool, maybe apart from Zelko Buvac, but like I think he's maybe foregone his cult hero
You
status.
can't get kicked off an American tour.
His
be
GoPro
sixth.
antics.
You can't get kicked off the tour by the manager we all love and then be called the Coltero. Okay. You might be called another C word.
He lost some, didn't he?
He
Was he on loan at Palace when Benteke scored and he sort of celebrated with them at Anfield, didn't
Exactly. He ran to do it as well.
Yeah, he made the
for
point.
me,
I mean, I don't think he's ever spoken out about what really happened in that period.
I was going to say, there's also the whole diet pill incident leading up to the Europa League final, which he was exonerated of eventually.
He was. I mean, he come out pretty bad from that in terms of he came out bad. It was pretty bad for him, and I think he was treated pretty badly. But yeah, he scored in Dortmund.
I was just about to say, did he get the Dortmund header, didn't he?
Scored against Everton as well.
Yeah.
That might creep him on then.
Did his knee in and got carried off the pitch, then ran back on for 30 more seconds, headed the ball clear, collapsed, had his name chanted a few times, and then I think he was out for months off the back of it.
I thought he was actually quite good. And then we signed good defenders and was like, no, maybe.
Well, he was like PSG's captain at 22 or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, they were shit then.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
Off the board? Are we saying off the
I'll
board?
put him a 5 for now. But
Yeah,
he
well,
goes
for his goal against
For the
Dortmund.
Dortmund goal, just for the Dortmund.
Yeah, and he
goal.
goes in the lowest
he's in
category.
danger.
Chance. Colo Torre.
Oh, he's up there.
He's up there, yeah.
Just the song as well, do you know what I mean? It's at least the 3, innit?
And you know what's the best thing? He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Everything about him's really funny. Like, even though he doesn't mean to be sometimes. I remember James told the koala bear story
That's
and
brilliant,
stuff. And he's terrified of animals.
The dog. We've got a dog at home. I've never spoken to it. He said we've had it for 2 years.
And didn't he, the Whitney Houston thing when before someone asked him about Whitney Houston dying, he got the complete wrong answer in a press conference. He's absolutely just.
I think
He
there's
was
only
around
one
my
allowed
era
in number
as well.
1. I think he's number 2.
I love him. I remember when the Europa League run, and we saved him and then just wheeled him out in the Europa League games. Like,
Final, he played in the
yeah,
final.
but his legs are completely gone.
He
I was like rolled him out, and he was like,
He was in my era, so like for me personally, like what I can say, he was unbelievable person.
Yeah.
So like that's for me, he'd be definitely a Coltero because I remember one day we was in training and like he was completely shouting at me like, do this, and I'm thinking like, mate, fuck off, like no, like I don't know what you want me to do, like I don't know what you're saying to me, but and then at the end he pulled me and he was almost upset, like I'm sorry I had to do that, and I was like, no, you don't need to be sorry. I just didn't understand what you meant. You know what I mean? Like
What was he asking you to do?
I think wrong.
you've been out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
There's a great.
No, there's like sorry, but he was saying something, but he was like kind of speaking to me, but talking to himself. But then he pulled me at the end, and he was like upset that he'd made me feel in a way of like that. And then obviously, listen, he was just Gerrard coming up the escalator doing his song makes him a Coltero. Do you know what I mean? The whole team, they're doing that.
In Gerrard's book, isn't it, where he says the Palace game when he drew 3-3 and Suarez was crying on the thing, and Gerrard's got Suarez, and he says, I just hear behind me, it's okay, the big man's here. And he said it was Colo Torre, only he hadn't played, he was in his jacket, but he said he come over and was like, Steve, you get yourself off, you've suffered here tonight, you know, like, I'll take Louis back to the dressing room. And he said that was sort of the measure of the man, really. He was a proper team player. And I just remember his mental celebration when he scored at Villa. and he just fell on his back.
Remember when he knocked the ref over? That's so funny as well.
Yeah.
Just ran into the ref and just absolutely bossed
And
him.
the Wigan manager now?
No, he's sacked quite soon.
sorry.
Yeah, but twice Premier League winner. You know, 2 different clubs. Like,
Invincible as
absolute
well.
brilliant player in his time as well. Like, he wasn't just a figure of fun. Like, he was a really, really good centre back as well.
I remember he gave one away against West Brom.
Yeah.
I remember this, and he looked. It was almost like the Office because he looked at the camera. And I don't think he knew he was looking at the camera. But he was like, and it was just hilarious.
Yeah, it was a bit like almost like. Why is he there? Why has he just done that? Why is he like it was you, mate?
Was that me? Pass that to me.
Yeah.
I love him.
I think I love him
Yeah,
just
he's
for
lovable.
he was brilliant in that Madrid game when Rodgers benched everyone.
Yeah.
And you know, having travelled all the way over there to see at least Colo Touré putting a performance.
We lost to Real Madrid, and it's telling because I've now been twice to Bernabeu in the Champions League and watched us lose to Real Madrid, and I tell you, I came back loads more positive the first time, bizarrely, when we were in the airport going, oh, Colo Touré be checking his back pocket, oh, Ronaldo's still in there, and all that kind of stuff, like walking away like he was a king.
Colo's a top player.
I think he's above Kamara in the 2 category as well.
Yeah.
So if
Is
someone's
he
getting
making
knocked
a run
down,
at one here?
I think he knocks Kamara down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Kamara goes down one there, or at least in between 2 and 3.
Well, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but you got Colo's chance
You got
as
5
well.
categories.
Well, is
there,
Colo
halfways.
up with Gary Mack?
yeah.
Ooh.
No,
Not quite, no.
yeah,
think it's
didn't
close,
score in
but
a derby, did he?
That helps. And again, he's bald.
Okay.
So that's my bad.
Maybe this will help then. Momo Sissoko.
He was good.
He's involved in another great song, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
Got
cult
that best
for
midfield.
whacking it 30 yards straight up in the
Marseille.
air.
Marseille.
Fucking hell.
Never forget it.
Just one of the
One of
worst
the maddest
passes
things I've ever
seen.
seen any
It
footballer
was a touch.
do.
It was his control. He tried to bring the ball down, beating it straight up in there.
He obviously.
It went so high. Now it's snowing.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing, lad?
Did he ever score for Liverpool?
Won.
One?
Did he have to wear the glasses as well, like David?
Yeah, that was-
Because
yeah.
of the eye injury.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
couple of things that adds to the narrative, doesn't it? That he got overhead. Someone done an overhead kick. Was it Benfica? Was it someone done an overhead kick into his feet? But he was going to sign for Everton as well, wasn't he? And Liverpool pinched him off Everton, so I think he gets an extra point there.
87 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists.
I was watching the Gerrard Salah thing. Did you recently on Liverpool TV? Talk about the goals, and he talked about the cup final. He said, Gerrard said, at the end of the
only
game,
one who could run.
it was just all the game plan was give it to Momo because he's the only one who could run. We were all fucking knackered.
I remember the derby that season as well when Gerrard was sent off with the 08 shirt on the back at Anfield after about 15
he was
minutes,
amazing.
and he was Sissoko was like he went down to 10 men when he was on the pitch because he went and done the run.
boss.
Everything up until the eye injury, he was just magic. We used to joke, he was a bit like Gerrard's going, go on, Momo, go get the ball for us, mate. And he'd scamper off, and he'd come back and he'd go, there you go, Stevie. And he goes, great, Sam, no worries. And he'd start,
Do you want me to shoot? No. No, I'll do that.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no, you roll.
This number 3 category's getting pretty full here, isn't it?
There might need to be some
we're
heavy decisions made here.
Maybe. Well,
Well, we've got a few more. We've got 5 more to do.
Let's go then.
Next one, Ragnar Klavan.
oh, the tear.
He's a cult. He's who I thought when you texted this morning, cult heroes. I thought of Ragnar straight away. Absolutely amazing. By the way, he's that handsome. I met him the other day. Really good looking guy.
Gone there.
Yeah, he was. And, I was talking to him about he'd been on Estonia's Strictly Come Dancing, and that's what I talked to him about.
Did he do his turn?
Almost certainly.
He'd done that on the show, I think. Yeah, as part of the show. He was a good guy, and I think he's the definition of a cult hero for me because he's not crap, but he didn't play much, and he's got funny moments.
I don't.
But he hasn't got a
Is he up
song.
there with Gary Mack and Colo?
No, he hasn't got a song for a
Not
start.
quite.
He had a winner, didn't he? He scored a winner at Burnley, didn't he?
Yeah.
New Year's
New
Day.
Year's Day.
I was
that day
I was in
great, that day.
I was in the delivery suite of Liverpool Women's with my missus. I was meant to go to Burnley.
Why are you stopping us talking about being there?
Because let me finish. Let me finish. Wow. I was saying if it's a boy, can we call it Ragnar?
Okay, so.
And he scored the winner. Like if it's a boy, can we call it
And
Ragnar?
did you get to call your son Ragnar?
It was a girl, so.
And would
Have you not met Ragnar?
Yeah, no. I
was hoping it was Lucas, to be
Baby's a
honest.
little raggy doing that.
Ragnarette.
Where's he go?
I think he's 4.
Yeah, he's
I think he's more of a cult
So have
hero
you seen
than
all the
these.
players
He's
in
more of
three?
a cult hero than them two.
Yeah,
They're
he
just
is.
boss players.
I think he fits the cult hero.
Okay, we'll
thing.
put Yari. You're gonna put Yari and Maxi down to 4.
Put Yari there
For now.
Are we going to get a chance for the final shuffle?
yeah,
final
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, with Eric, like,
I know, that's hard.
that front three.
I think
doesn't
Eric.
look right.
That's better. That's better.
Eric
Watch
Meyer.
out, or if he sees you, he'll put you in a fucking chokehold.
He's a big media personality now, isn't he? Eric
Okay,
Meyer?
the only... Oh, no, I tell a lie. There's 2 current players on this. This
I
is
hope
the
one of
first
them's
one.
on. I hope one of them's definitely on there.
Costas Tsimikas.
Ooh. I scored a winning penalty.
He did.
I don't think is he a cult. Why is he a cult hero? Because the pen.
The name
Greek
in it,
Scouts at
the
the
name
Greek
in it.
Scouts.
Exactly. He's got all the hallmarks of a cult hero.
Okay.
He's a bit weird.
Could he be a cult hero?
He held the charity shield like a shield in the aftermath of the match.
Captain Costas.
Yeah.
He's a. We met him at Hotel Anfield. I've never seen a man with flared jeans. They were big. They were
Not this century.
That knocks him down one. That knocks him down one.
Yeah.
He's going to be
Yeah.
2, he's 3 now.
You can't be having that.
I've got Ric Flair's
Is
flying
that going
about
to cancel
now.
out the penalty?
Yeah.
He also told Chris how to say his name, and then Chris said it wrong 5 seconds later. Is how you say your name? Went Tsimikas. You went. All right, and we cost that Tsimikas. He just looked at you like. Nice.
Why'd you bother asking? Short-term
Where's he?
memory loss.
I don't know.
He's more of a cult hero than these two. So we might have to... Oh, sorry.
Well, why
Sorry.
can't we stick him in 3 for now?
Sorry.
We can't. Oh, this is getting messy now.
I suggest there.
Steve was like it was a shambles last week when you put them
Chris
in the place they wanted to go.
Chris has taken over.
That is a huge reason. Like, he'll only ever be remembered for one thing he ever did for Liverpool, but it's a winning penalty in a cup final. I don't think he'll ever have another moment that you
He's not a
think
bad player,
cost
though.
us.
I don't
Yeah,
think.
exactly. He's
You know
not.
what I mean? He's not
Yeah.
a bad player, is
But
he?
you saw your backup left backs.
Yeah,
penalty,
yeah.
I
then
can't
you're
have him
like-
on the same level as Sacco, mate.
I threw Saka off the board
Oh, yeah, sorry.
for a reason.
Take up for now.
So Saka's been relegated for now.
Scouse soldier in the Greek Scouser.
Yeah. Okay. Another the last of the current players, Nathaniel Phillips.
Someone needs to do the turn, don't they? Someone needs to just show the turn, don't
Yeah.
they? You know what I mean?
That's the iconic moment. You need an iconic moment as a cult hero. And
It's the ground. The ground it was at as well.
Skinner's
You know,
Zlatan.
it's going to host the Champions League semi-final twice, and he's like chopped the whole stadium into the other way, didn't he?
I mean, the other one is Alisson's header. Is the pace he arrives at the ball with and nowhere near. And I actually interviewed him after it, and he said, "It's just a good job. I never got my head on that." He said that was going to the moon. He said, I just ran at the wall. And he said, Alisson just flicks it in. So he's like, he's that period obviously was quite a miserable period, wasn't it? I think just for the world, and I do think he gave a lot of light to Liverpool at that point.
picture
The
of
band
him
of Johnny Ed as well. The band of Johnny Ed as well.
Picture of him and Reece, like
Reece at the end of this.
they've been battered walking off the pitch against Palace.
I know, and you think as well, even before that, he had just basically like on call for an Everton game. Just he was playing for Stuttgart, and he went, "Do you want fancy a game? Go game Sunday here against Everton."
Like a ringer.
Go on, come down, yeah, and keep Calvert-Lewin in my pocket. Sound, I'll get off then. Back to Germany. So I think he's high 3. He's high 3 or 2. I
Is he
think.
2? I think he's 2.
I think he's more than Ragnar Klavan.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be more than Clavan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam.
Great beard, strong beard.
Two.
Liam Gallagher as well. He's gone out with Liam Gallagher's daughter as well. So
Iconic.
that's extra.
You know that's
Celebrity
yeah.
points. Yeah.
I bet Liam's
Yeah.
about that.
Let me
Lovely
show you some of the
guy,
Liam's
Oh, he
half
might-
Liverpool
he
fan.
might-
They're half Liverpool fans, them too as
He
well.
might just have... he might just have...
Nat Gallagher up to number 1. Yeah, no, but he's a great guy as well. Nat, lovely fella, proper like someone who's grounded as well. So yeah, I'd have him high.
Can you be a cult hero if you've tried to leave every transfer window and they just won't let you go?
Yeah, stuck around forever. Groundhog Day.
As soon as he's about to get on the plane, Virgil's done his hamstring and the car just turns around. Oh, here we go again.
There you
Yeah,
go.
back again.
Jadon Shaqiri.
Don't think he's a cult hero.
Why is he on this list?
Who
said him?
I'm just
Cross
going
Barca,
from the
innit? Do you know what I mean?
suggestions.
It's the Barca before.
Is it because he like looks a little bit funny?
Some career in. No, he's had some career in.
He was
he's
a
a
good.
good
He was
wow.
about. Yeah, he was
He's in the Littman and
He's a top player.
category.
Relatively speaking.
I know-
You hate him.
No, I didn't.
Oh, gosh.
I
He scored one
saw
of the best
him.
World Cup goals as well, didn't he? Remember the volley?
Yeah.
I
Volley in the
saw
World
him
The overhead kick?
Scored an overhead kick against Manchester United in the big house in Michigan in front of 100,000 people or whatever. One of the maddest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm thinking about it now, right? The celebration with the arms folded, that helps, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, I remember him getting interviewed that he scored in the Champions League early, maybe Red Star Belgrade, maybe. And in the mix zone, someone, like, just dead earnestly, I hadn't really spoken to him, said to him, like, it's amazing for you, playing with the likes of Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. It must be fantastic. And he just sort of went and, I've played for Bayern Munich and Inter Milan, mate. I've seen good players before, and I like to think I'm quite a good player. So
I had a similar thing in that mix zone after that Man United game of being like, oh, it must be great for you. It's like a big moment with Manchester United. And he was just like, I've played in big games. It's a friendly game.
Done that in the World Cup, mate.
Before. It's like, oh yeah, fair enough.
He was just a good player, I think.
And the United goals as well.
Yeah. Set up Gini Wijnaldum's header against Barcelona.
Set up Salah at West Ham with that counter-attacking goal at West Ham.
That Trent to Salah.
Set him, didn't he?
Yeah. Okay, not a cult hero.
I don't think so. I think he's a decent player.
Okay.
So Shaq.
Jibril Cisse, the Lord of the Manor of Frodsham, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and DJ.
And mate, the man was could do everything. But
I bet he got the Daily Mail where you could buy a tree up in Scotland.
He
as
could
well.
be singly
a patch of the night sky.
Yeah, he's got
he could be singly on his own at one there, couldn't he though?
I don't think he's a cult hero.
No,
really.
Big record signing.
Champions League final pen though.
Yeah.
Never really ended up as a properly established.
No, he had terrible luck.
How many games did he play?
His first goal was Tottenham away when he come off his shin, didn't it?
Yeah. He only played 79 games.
See, I think he would have played 100, wouldn't he?
But he scored 24 goals in that time.
See, I think a lot of these lads...
goal in the cup final, didn't he?
Did.
Underrated Liverpool goal.
Even though he had one red boot on and one white boot on for the first half, which I remember drove Mark Lawrenson absolutely berserk in commentary.
That's a Trent pass, isn't it? Gerrard passed it. That's a Trent. That's what he can do.
I think a lot of these lads, they're on the cult hero because they were older. He would have played 100 games. It's like he had the leg injury.
I just think the expectation that he signed with, it's not the same as Ragnar Klavan coming for a couple of million or TT Camara. He was
8.5 million from
it was Rafa's first.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think it was even more than 13, 14 million. I'm like,
it was the budget. It was Rafa's budget.
Yeah, so it's not his fault necessarily, but I think he's a bit of a disappointment as a Liverpool player. So
I think for him though, I think a couple of things because he never hit the height, but like I think he's one of those players that didn't do it on the pitch consistently, but we took him to our hearts as one of the reasons why I think he does class. Like breaking his leg and then coming back to be available for the Champions League final, even though he's obviously not played that whole time. Scores in the FA Cup final as we've already mentioned. The fact that he's just a bit of a character and a bit mad. It's like the mad haircuts and the mad suits and literally taking a Lord's Chip title while he was there. He's got a lot of the elements. He's what basically I thought we were getting another of in Balotelli. Like when you get a bit of a character and a bit odd, and he's going to do some funny and interesting things. Except Balotelli.
Yeah, he scored more goals if there was VAR. Because I used to think he was offside all the time, and I wonder now if they started getting the lines out there.
Maybe they lost a few.
Or he might have cut He was offside all the time.
Right. Okay. Come on, boys. Let's get our final. Let's finalise what we've got.
Are people getting how many can be on the board?
You can have as many on the board
as
you want,
one can be number one.
Only one can be number one.
There can only be one.
There can be only one, yes.
I think that's got to be
highlight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think so.
Do we want to throw any of these on anyway?
Who we got off?
Cisse for winning the Champions League got to be on there somewhere.
I don't think Shaq can be is worth a place personally on the board.
Okay.
Not worth. No, as a cult hero.
Yeah, he's too good for that. I can throw these on if you want.
I'm happy with it as is, I think it's fine.
Cool.
Adam really wants to put Cisse on.
I loved Cisse.
I loved Cisse.
Possibly push them into win.
But I was young and vulnerable, and that's when I loved him. Though, do you know what I mean? Because he was my signing.
I think I moved Eric Meyer up one because of just the title of the piece. I think he's more befitting a cult hero.
Okay.
I'm going to throw Dijon at the bottom just for Adam as well. I'm alright with that.
And you want?
Who are we missing off? Who have we got off?
Shaq and Sakho.
Sakho definitely off, yeah.
Shaqo,
if you will. Okay. So, in 5, Chris.
It's on the board.
Do you want it?
It's not okay. You keep hold of it. Just tell me.
I was getting really
tell me who's on there. to the camera, mate. I don't need to see it.
I can't tell who's on there, can I? Gary Mack. It's number one.
You must sing the song. You must sing the song as we go past.
Actually, the reading was on it. Like, it's fine. We're so close to being
You could
done.
turn the board around and then you'd be able to read it, but the viewers won't be able to see
Exactly. There we go. Number 5. Chris, who's number 5?
Yari Littman and Maxi Rodriguez and Jibril Cisse.
Okay. 4.
Costa Simicas and Eric Maya.
There we go, we've got it.
3.
Ragnar Klavan, Momo Sissoko, Titi Camara.
2.
Colo Torre and Naf Phillips, centre-half partnership.
Oh, and number 1.
Gary Mack.
Gary Mack. I think you've nailed
I think
that.
he's done a good job there.
I think
Well
so.
done us.
Shaq's agent's going to be on the phone.
No, Shaq's, it's a compliment that he isn't on the board.
Okay.
That's why he's not on there. Sacco's a different reason.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very late. It's very late in the era, isn't it? It's not. There's no sort of early Premier League era.
It's
Players
interesting
in
that,
there,
you know, there was, and again, I think there was a lot of focus on, I said, names that I automatically discounted from stuff as well, because like Luis Garcia was one that was.
I thought you were going to put Darwin. I thought Darwin was going to come up because I think he's already got cult hero status, but maybe he'll just have hero status.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he probably is the modern.
Kelleher might be a shout if he leaves. I mean, not many goalkeepers score a winning penalty and save the one before.
Never had a bad game.
Yeah. And he's going to have a grand total of
I don't think so. I don't think he is, but you know what when you said cult, I thought Morientes. I used to love Morientes.
Crouch. It was Crouch.
Crouch is one, yeah.
And he's got more than 100 games.
Yeah,
Morientes.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was so excited when Morientes.
No, that's
yeah.
he was such a disappointment, weren't he? But I remember the header. It was probably about 60, and he just flicked it. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember it.
Peter Crouch, 134 appearances for the club.
What was Crouch, sorry?
134. And Morientes.
And a
Took
great
him
song
100
as
to
well.
score his first. What was he, 19 games, Crouch?
Yeah,
I watch his podcast all the time.
It's
Crouch.
good. Like, Morientes, 61 appearances, 12 goals, 8 assists. Mightn't have been a bad.
Wow.
He'd probably be like,
surprised,
if we were doing another show where it was sort of not the letdowns, but the sort of the ones that you were most excited about when he signed High Kuhl, sort of Robbie Keane.
Heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Write that down, that could be a segment in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yes. Right, cool. Let me know your thoughts on anything we've discussed in the comments on that one. We're going to take one last break and then we will be previewing Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest.
I'm going to shit myself here. And I can't go to the toilet because we're going to miss our flight. So what I'm going to do, I said, if this fart comes out, this could be anything, right? So I've said, I'm going to go and stand next to those kids, so at least everyone thinks it was them.
Those
children. No. Anyway, nothing came out apart from a fart. So I walked back to my mate and goes, you just walked up to some kids and farted on them and left.
Screaming at the top of his lungs, in the wrong key, every Liverpool song.
I've made a living out of that. New singles available, by the way.
So Webster went out, calm down for a minute, and this big fucking hand come over me. It was Phil Thompson, because we'd done a gig in the Echo Arena on the Monday night. He was like, mad that, wasn't it? Good luck, Keo. I was like, I'll be fucking sound. He's won 2 European Cups.
If you are, for example, a baker and you have a bad day at work, you know, apart from some poor lady who got a yeast infection, you'll be all right. Well, I have a shit day at work, you know 950,000 people hear about it. Do you know what I mean?
As you were doing vlogs and you were stepping on my patch clout, that's what it was.
Opposition. You Rupert Murdoch, son of a bitch. You Logan Roy.
So I
Fucking hell.
I get an ignition on because she's getting fucking loads of views.
Hey, yes, welcome back. If you want to check out that uncensored show, it promises to be another absolute belter this week, and we've got a wonderful back catalogue. There's 11 episodes in the can there over on redmenplus.com. You've seen a clip from last week's, but we've had some brilliant on there. We've had comedian Adam Rowe and James Sutton. We've had former Liverpool midfielder John Welsh in previous weeks talking about the infamous... Thanks, mate. The infamous nightclub incident with John Otsemabor and a few other things as well. So yeah, make sure you check out Redmen Uncensored. If you use the code TNP, go and click join today. Choose a club captain, monthly subscription. Use the code TNP. Is that the code that was in the example there? Yeah, there it is. And you're going to get a 50% discount off for 3 months. So there you go. Last chance. We're going to be taking that code off at the end of the month as well. So last couple of opportunities to use it if you haven't done so already. Right.
No one told Paul you've stuck the code on the dash for him, have you?
I mean,
Smooth operation there.
How did Claire
Now I'm
respond?
fucked for the deep dive show, because that's what I check.
So
every
you
week.
look at you. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well done. How did Claire respond to the question about whether you were a better husband, lover, or both?
Both, darling. What do I get for that answer? what shall I say she gets?
I mean, that's entirely.
2.5 minutes
Depends whether you're a good husband or a good lover.
Out of this one.
Okay.
Right.
Like 2.5 minutes.
What about
Motted. Wow.
that? Lover. I didn't write that.
You did?
No, I didn't send it.
Wow.
I'll be on a promise otherwise. I've just ignored it.
Don't get this on the Journo Insight with Neil Jones show. Tell you
No,
what,
you
he's well
don't.
better behaved.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Him.
Right, sounds. Jesus Christ. Okay,
say
I am still joined by Steve Hoare, by Chris Pager, by Neil Jones, and by Adam Morgan as well. We're going to be previewing next. Liverpool, Nottingham Forest. Let's be perfectly blunt on this one, Steve. Forest are rubbish, but Forest also beat us this season, so we can't afford to be them pricks.
Well, yeah, I think everyone beats us at some point or other, so that's what I bought.
Not Newcastle.
That's, yeah,
In your face, Newcastle.
In your face.
Losers.
Best
Whatever.
defence in the league, my ass.
With all your money and your Champions League plays.
And your happiness, enjoying your wins.
Yeah, cup finals.
Team photos.
Anyway.
Is he still doing that?
Yeah.
The team photos after every win.
Yeah, they like that, don't they?
He
Anyway,
used to do that after a good swimming gala.
don't like to bring it up.
It was only the teacher who asked for them, and you never got to see the finished photos. It was very strange.
Didn't even have a camera.
He just went, click. Nottingham Forest, Steve, Anfield, Saturday 3 p.m.
Yeah, the show's got the rails. That is the game. Yeah, it's can you back up another good performance with another one, because Liverpool have let us down so many times where we've just felt like we're getting, you know, we beat United 7-0 and don't win a game for ages,
For
or
a
you
month
beat
and a
City,
half or whatever it was.
even like you beat City, you beat West Ham, and then you lose to Forest. We've done all that kind of stuff before, so you need to. The next step is just a bit of consistency and show that however we end the season, wherever we end it in good form. You know, a couple of good wins. That's what they need, because I think it's fair to say we can't trust them still, because they haven't earned that. You earn that by going, you beat Leeds, you beat Forest, and then you go again, Spurs are on the line and all that kind of stuff, West Ham on the highs, and so that's what it is for me. You can't just like one-off performances here and there. That's why you end up as like 8th in the league. You need to put runs. You know, look what Aston Villa have just done. They put like 5 or 6 Premier League wins together, and they've shot up from mid-table to like above us. That's what Liverpool needs to be doing, that kind of thing now. So you're right. Forest at home should be a banker. I said the other day, so apologies, but like when you looked at our running, when you thought we were going to be in the title race, you're like, oh, we fancy that. There's nothing that like terrifies you. Like Spurs at home, it's the only obvious one that really stood out at the time. So in theory now it should be the same, shouldn't it? So yeah, Forest are rubbish. There's a lot of rubbish teams in the league. You know, whoever stays up, like God, some rubbish teams are going to stay up. So, and these are one of them. So I'm with you, mate. You just go and do your jobs.
Adam, it's a test that they need to pass. It's just one of those things. We talked about this. Is they've tried something new. It looks like they've managed to kind of rebirth something, some hunger, some energy in the squad or whatever. Yeah. But if you can't then turn up against Forest at Anfield, like they'll fight and they'll give it their all, and they might well drag themselves out of relegation, but we should be no part of that conversation. They're not there 3 points to fight for, there are.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like, yeah, they are fighting on relegation front, but I think, for me, it's just a league too big for Forest. Like, club size, obviously, they're absolutely massive, but their actual team at the minute, they're just not good enough, and I think whether Liverpool are on the best day or Liverpool on the worst day, I think just we're too good for them. I think we're really too good for them. And, you know, like you said, we've all said it, behind closed doors, on shows, anything like that this season. I really fancy Liverpool today. But, you know what, honestly, 100% sure that we're going to get the job done on Saturday. I can't see. There's not somewhere I think that could be a threat. That,
yeah.
You know, to be honest, like, they could shut up shop maybe, but they don't need to shut up shop. They need to come and have a go. Yeah, a point at Anfield in the long run could, but they need points. They don't need to come and do a Mourinho style performance at Anfield. You know what I mean? And silence the crop. And I think For me, it's a routine win.
Neil, you've been thoroughly unimpressed with Liverpool's resurgence so far. It's clear from our chat so far on this show. Taiwo as well, your mate, ready to approve what we've done wrong by letting him go. It's not as it shouldn't be. It should be cut and dry. It might not be. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's different at Anfield, isn't it? Liverpool's taking care of business at Anfield pretty much. Leeds is the only outlier in that regard, isn't it? They've even when they've not been playing well, they've beaten people at Anfield. You think of Leicester and Everton. Teams down there that you maybe would have thought, oh, Liverpool have tossed away a few points away from home. What can I do? And they've got themselves back on it. So I agree with Adam. It's hard to see. Forest don't score enough goals. You mentioned Taiwo there. He got the winner in the reverse game, but you watched them against Manchester United last week, and they didn't have an awful lot, did they? They've got Brennan Johnson, they've got Morgan Gibbs-White, who was sort of okay players, but there's a lot of weaknesses in that Forest team, and you would hope that Liverpool go in, renewed sort of confidence, but also you think even if they don't get it done after 45, 60 minutes, they're gonna have Luis Diaz, they're gonna have whoever doesn't start out of Nunes and Jota and Gakpo, they're gonna have Thiago or whoever to come off the bench. So there's no excuse for Liverpool really. And also you look at the, Steve says the run in there. I think it's five home games left, is it? Between now and the end of the season, it's a lot of chances for Liverpool to at least put some pressure on some teams. I think, is it Newcastle Tottenham this weekend as well? So one or both of those are losing points. So there you go. There's a potential to close some gap. Brighton aren't playing. Yeah, United aren't playing. So there's a chance to just make the league table look a little bit more sort of tight and condensed. They've got 2 games in the space of 4 or 5 days. They can't be dropping any points here this weekend.
No. Something I've been sort of thinking about the last couple of days is, like, I know when, I forget the journalist who broke it now, the Bellingham stuff and Liverpool not signing him. Was it since then that we've kind of stepped up a little bit? Like, has there maybe been something where they go, well, you know what, yeah, we're not going to get you, Bellingham. It's kind of our fault. We're not going to get European football, Champions League football or something like that. Is there a part of them where they've maybe gone, fuck this, let's fucking get into gear and get ourselves into Europe?
Do you think they've got to Trent? We're not signing him because we're not in the Champions League, mate. If you want your mate here,
get us
go
there.
And get us.
Get us there, mate.
Yeah, at least go,
like,
right, put me in midfield then.
I know it's not going to have like a genuine impact, but there is a point where you can't fuck up anymore.
Yeah.
And we're at that point now. Liverpool, you ain't got any lives left. You've got to go out there and you've got to perform each week if you want European football. It's not just about the players that they're going to play with next season. It's who the reinforcements are going to be. And you get to play in Europe. No one wants a season without Europe. Yeah. Least of all us, least most of all probably the players.
Yeah, but you got players, you got the team on the pitch as well, haven't you? You've got all of a sudden the same teams pretty much playing quite a lot of the games, aren't you? You've got Gakpo settled into the side. You've got Kanate now playing at right centre back, and I think that's the best 2, isn't it? Are playing together. You've got Trent and Robertson back into some kind of form. You're not trying to plug in Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain or whoever. You've got a bit of a team that you can go, do you know what? We sort of know what we're going to get out of this team. Whereas for so much of this season, it's been a case of, Jürgen used to say to me, I can't pick the wrong team because we've got so much quality, but it was almost like he couldn't pick the right team because whoever he took the risk on, whether it was Thiago, whether it was Henderson, whether it was Milner, whether it was Curtis, it was almost like, well, none of them are informed and none of them are playing well. Now it's like, okay, now it's got to the stage where I can change it and feel quite comfortable that
you've got a front 3 there, haven't you, where Salah gets 2 goals, Jota gets 2 goals, all of a sudden Jota's one of those players anyway that scoring gluts, won't he? So he's probably going to get, hopefully go into this weekend renewed confidence. It's been a bit of a hard slog for him the last year without scoring, has it? As a striker, that must piss you off, mustn't it, Adam? I mean,
for sure.
Have you gone through those where you're like, fucking hell?
Not many. No, absolutely. But like you're saying, like for me, going right back to the start, for me the biggest thing I was made up about was Jota getting a couple. I think I love Jota, and I think like, what was it like? Near enough a year, weren't it?
Over a year.
Just over a year.
372 days.
That's what I'm saying. So like, for me, and he had a couple of halves, but then that it's like buses. That's what they say. It comes in bus 1, 2. Because the confidence comes back, and hopefully, doesn't matter how small of a win last week was, we just want to see a little bit of an upward spiral. We're not asking for the moon, kind of just go and beat what's in front of you this week. Then again, we could all sit here again and think, right, 2, let's build on it. But because again, going back to it, we just got so greedy of, we're just going to we're in a time that in the last few years where I thought, I can't see us not winning here. Yeah. But now it's just been a bit like, well, Leeds away, don't really fancy that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Brighton twice. Oh. Yeah. But see, I'm still on the thing of, you know what, I appreciated them 5 years so much. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, and like, I think it will come good again.
It's interesting, we just won by 6, haven't we? It's like the 4th best scoreline. We've won by, we've scored 7s and 9s, and we haven't really backed it up. To be interesting to see. I thought we made the point speaking earlier about, like, you know, the bench the other day against Leeds, when you look at the lads who come on. Maybe that's part of it as well. Like the lads who are on the pitch are like, hang on a minute. Yeah. You know, if I don't score well...
Diaz breathing down.
Yeah, there's Lewis, there's Diaz and Darwin behind me, and then, you know, Thiago's there if you want to play him. And that could raise the levels because...
Well, I think that's the Jota point, Steve, because I literally, there was 35 minutes in that game where that Jota must be thinking, I'm never getting back in this team ever again. You know, we can't even pass a ball to a red shirt.
He might have been thinking I'm getting sold at half time.
Well, but that's the thing about Jota's the great example. And Curtis has got it as well. We talked about this last week, is they've been given this opportunity. We had one last chance to kind of jumpstart their seasons a bit. And he's done it. And now there's a lot of people, me and Chris did the watch along for Leeds, and all the comments were, why isn't Darwin starting? Why is Jota starting instead of Darwin? And variations on a theme, most of it a lot nastier than that. But now we're like, well, Jota will start, because why wouldn't Jota start? Because he's absolutely earned the right to start.
Yeah, well, you say that, he might not.
Jota's top quality, like, and like that just sums it all up in there. He's just had a bad period of time. Doesn't mean he's a bad player. Like, I remember I went Arsenal, like I was saying, I'd go all the South games last year. I went Arsenal and seen them absolutely rip them apart. Like, we done the one from the side, the dink over Ramsdale. And that's why I was so delighted, because I know, obviously from such a lower level, but I know the feeling of, I'm back now. I've scored 2 there. That's the like, you don't need much. You need a kickstart, and hopefully, let's go.
I think Jota as well. Jota likes Needle, doesn't he? And I think it's harder to play with Needle if you're worrying about your own form, isn't it? If you're, I can't be getting in centre halves' faces if they can turn around and say, "Mate, you haven't scored for me. You can shut up." You know, like, I think you'll see a little bit, and you saw him. He was giving a bit to the Leeds fans, wasn't he? You saw that. He gave a little bit of a Cantona celebration when he got the second, didn't he? And I agree with that. I think he's one of them who I could see him getting 8 in the last 8, or, you know, something like that, where you just go, well, there you go.
He doesn't score the second without the first, does he?
No,
I don't think he scores the first without the assist for winning the ball and driving forward, picking the right pass. Obviously, he's a great finish, but I think he's a really interesting player. I think Jota for Liverpool, because I think he's one of them that no one really. I don't think many people have him in their best Liverpool 11. Even now, I think a lot of people are sort of saying, well, it'll be Diaz, Darwin, or Gakpo and Salah, but he can make such a big difference to Liverpool if he's on the pitch. You know,
he needs a lighter, doesn't he? He needs a lighter in his belly before a game. It's like he needs one of the Leeds players to push him. Just it's like that. I'll kill you, and then no, but just then that mindset. If you're all nice with him, I think he'd be all nice with you. But then the minute you go, he's got that evil side of. I'll show you now.
I spoke to Lee Peltier.
I know Lee.
And he played. I asked him. He played obviously against United last season in the cup, but so we done a piece with him, and I asked him about coming through the Championship, and he said the one player he said who just was Jota. He said, and it wasn't necessarily his ability that was still unplayable. He said it was just how horrible he sort of was. You know, and he said he was one of them that, like, if you shanked the clearance, he'd sort of give you a little bit as you were putting, you know, saying, like, you know, you don't want to play with your fullback, or, you know, don't you want to take me on, or, you know, that kind of thing.
The full game.
Yeah, he said, like, he was just on me, and he said, and he drives you to distraction. He drove him to distraction in the sense of, I wanted to kill him, you know, like, I wanted to. And he said, and then as soon as you do that, he's in, you know, he's away from you, and then you'll score a header at the back post, be a little shout, you know, didn't you want to mark me at that cross and all that kind of, you know.
It's like the Bellamy. Bellamy used to be like,
right, I think,
call people crowd kickers. He said,
Ian Wright
just make the easy pass there. But what he's doing is he wants Peltier to jump at him so he gets out half a yard, because he knows then he got the ability, but. It's all, that's what the fire in the belly of that's what I'm saying, of like, I don't care if I'm small, I can beat you in a header, But he'll never beat your nether if you're not confident.
You were talking when you played. When
Oh,
you
like you wouldn't believe, yeah. Like, but honestly, I still do it now, even when I'm playing on Saturday with the lads. It's like they give me more shit than I give them, but it's like, I just like get into that because that little bit of, I don't feel it just gets me, and I think, yeah, I was going to show you now, and that's what I feel like Jota got back the other day.
We've forgotten about Jota, haven't we? It's mad because like there was a point a year or so ago when we're talking like he's got the best of Owen, he's got the best of Fowler, he's got the best of Bitter Suarez, he's got all these little things going for him. But the new and the shiny, you see Darwin Núñez and he's all 6 foot and long hair and pace to burn and all that kind of stuff, and you can't help but looking at Diaz, and all of a sudden he starts to look a little bit like you're right. It's not as easy on the eye, is it? It's like doesn't have the pace or that kind of style about him. He's gnarly and he gets in the right places, and he's been getting in the right places. You know, like Crystal Palace, he has a chance, a good chance at the back post.
Yeah,
in that one,
he would have had a goal, wouldn't he? But for a handball, I think I want Chelsea. It's also it is funny, isn't it? Because you see the stories start appearing. Oh, they might cut the losses on Jota, and you think, no, like the whole sort of point is you have depth, isn't it? You don't sort of go, oh, he's our 5th choice striker, so we have to sell him. You know, like, I think a little bit like with Kelleher. You know, at the moment you're hearing the stories of, I'm gonna have to get rid of him because he's too good to be number 2. He's like, well, you want good players as your number 2 or your number 5 striker, but he's back, I think.
Fingers crossed, anyway. Any other interesting decisions for the manager? I mean, again,
Whether he goes Curtis again, because
The 4th game on the bounce if he does.
or does he want to get Thiago back in? It's probably a good game for Thiago. Maybe
The thing's interesting about the lineup and how if they're going to stick with that shape, because we had this little chat and we hinted at it earlier about like, well, where does Thiago play in that? He obviously comes in for Fabinho in the Leeds game, is that right? And off the bench. So he's alongside Trent in that midfield, and that feels very like quite like there's a lot of passing and maybe not quite so much of the kick.
Maybe against Norwich though, you could. Sorry, against Nottingham Forest, you could get away with that because they are an attacking threat.
And the West Ham game in midweek is what I'm kind of leading to.
Fab's already yelled about. You know, if Fab gets a book, he misses both of them.
Yeah,
he misses West Ham and Spurs, so they might just say
it might not be a bad thing with his form this season.
Yeah, I think they're 2 games you probably won them more than Forest. He might say, he might say Thiago. If you're not worried about Nottingham Forest on the attack per se, you could go Thiago and Trent.
Yeah, like people say, I don't know. People seem to just write off Thiago as like the 8. He's so clever with the ball, and he beats a man so quickly over the yards.
Which side is he playing? Because
Left, why not?
He's going to have to do some running, because Andy Robbo's a centre back at the minute. If on the Trent thing, I think
he's not when we defend. And this is all my whole thing with this, right? Because you take it back to that 4-3-3 when we're defending 3-2. What is it? 2-3. 3-1. Yeah, it's 3-2-5 basically, isn't it? We defend with Robbo as a left back. We defend with Trent as a right back.
Curtis has to do a lot of running. Doing loads of running.
Kurt, that's what Kurt does.
Yes, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
asking Thiago to do that.
I'm not asking him to do that. I'm asking him to pick the fucking lock. I'm asking him to open the door. I'm asking him to find the man that scores the goals.
Yeah. Okay. You know
what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying play a fucking 10 if you want.
I'm not against the idea of him just playing in the 6.
He could do both. That's all I'm saying. People seem to write off Thiago. Thiago's one of the best footballers you'll watch, and he's so fucking clever. And he beats a man in tight spaces, and he doesn't need a lot of time on the ball. People don't think that he can play that role at the top.
Nasty,
he can absolutely play that role
as well,
at the top.
Thiago. He's
nasty. It feels like driving the Ferrari to Asda. You know what I mean? It feels a bit like you're wasting the miles on him.
No, not at all. I'm asking him to play Kevin De Bruyne's role on the left instead of the right. That's all I'm doing.
The other side is potentially is.
What's your problem with that, Steve?
No, it's fine.
Is Curtis' side, isn't it? Is that like Steve says? It's 4 games in a row he starts and. He's played pretty well, hasn't he? You know, he's had an impact on games. He impacted the Arsenal game. I know, obviously, Thiago came on for him, but he helps get Liverpool back into the game, doesn't he? With the little back heel, sets a goal up. I think a lot of people must have slapped the table when he done that and said, "That's it, Curtis. That first time pass, do that more." You know, like I wish he'd shoot a bit more. You know, there's been a couple that dropped to me. I think just hit it early, but is it time for Jurgen to say, "Look, right? I'm buying a few midfielders this summer, you know I am, but here's your platform, like, you know, like, prove to me that you're going to be one of them as well, that's going to be in there." I think it would be, I was surprised he started Monday. I thought Thiago was going to come in. He justified his inclusion, so I'd be surprised if he didn't start now, Saturday.
It might just be, again, who does he most want for the midweek? at West Ham? And is there a player that he wants fresher out of those? And if it's Thiago, then you'd let Thiago have another half an hour. No point in risking losing him at any point if you're still a bit shaky on him. Maybe. And again, Curtis has performed. He's not. It's just whether it falls on the day that he has off.
I think that's the way they'll go. Though I think they'll put Curtis in at Anfield and then say Thiago for West Ham for me.
But the flip side of that though, because I don't disagree with anyone's points here, but like if you're going to have 75% possession, do you need Fabinho as you do? Would it not be fucking just a really good idea to have Thiago and Trent and make it 85% possession?
That's why I think he will.
And all my point before was I think he can play there. I don't think he will play there. I think it's but like you'll never get the ball off him.
I think in this game, I'm the opposite. I think Thiago plays with Jones. I don't think Fabinho plays.
Yeah.
I don't think
because you're expected 80-75% possession.
We need to move things on. I just want to bring attention to the fact that Forest fans are going to be ringing a banner, respecting the 97, calling for an end of tragedy chanting, which I think is a brilliant sign of solidarity there. And it's interesting to see now the stories coming out. And I think Dan Taylor tried to do a bit of this with the first game, but I don't think it quite came off in the same way. And I saw a little bit of negative stuff around it. But seeing Forest fans talking about their stories of being at Hillsborough, and that's kind of coming out a bit more at the time, and this feels really nice, Neil, and it's hopefully it's another thing that just grows the message.
There's a good little sort of mini documentary on the BBC about tragedy chanting, and there's a guy speaking on it, and you don't realise it from the start. You think it's a Liverpool fan, he talks about Hillsborough, and then it's later revealed he was a Forest fan, and how much he was yes, I know, yeah, but I think he's the guy responsible for the banner. Or among the group anyway, and it's obviously it's forgotten, isn't it, that they were what they went through that day, those fans, and the sort of whatever survivor's guilt and those kind of things, and obviously there haven't been too many of the fixtures in recent years, so it's been lost a little bit, hasn't it, that element to it. But I was at the cup game last season. I was pitch side for Indian TV, and they made a gesture there at the cup game. I think there was certainly a banner at the City ground back in, when was that, October, November. So fair play to Forest, and it's good that that discussion is just at the forefront of things at the moment, isn't it? Regardless of what club's involved or what sort of incident it's being referred to, it is sort of nice to shine a light. And I mean, I almost think like the sort of slogan is just like, just stop being a dickhead, like that's all. It's not, never mind the sort of the specifics of it. It's just like, are you serious? You're gonna chant about loss of life.
Well, exactly. Half of the battle, I think, is having it explainable in a sentence, and I think end tragedy chanting seems to be something that's grabbing traction, which is going to make it a lot easier, and the more fan reasons to come onto it. Oh god, yeah. But whatever.
What I mean is, it needs to be able to be a hashtag, because that's how people are.
Yeah, it's true. Right, just back to the game very briefly before we wrap up. What do we think the score is going to be, Adam Morgan?
4-0.
Go ahead.
I think 2-0 Liverpool. I think a comfortable 2-0.
2-0, Jesus Christ.
4-1.
Steve?
3-0.
Okay. 5-0 Liverpool.
Oh.
5. Classic Liverpool Forest.
Exactly. Well, they're putting that documentary out there on LFC TV, and I'll be saying to these lads, pin it up on the dressing room wall, making documentaries about beating Forest 5-0. Here is an opportunity for you to write yourselves into history in 30 years' time when they come round to talk about it again. Right, cool. Sad. We had one more super chat which I missed from earlier on. Liam Bento. I said, quick fire quiz. Who would be on Liverpool's top 5 cult villain list of players we played against that we love to hate? We might have to.
Great show.
Oh, I tell you what, we might have to keep that. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that on a future show. I think that's an interesting one. Bernardo Silva might be in there. Anyway, suggestions quick. Bruno Fernandes.
Gary Neville.
Richarlison.
Roy Keane didn't like him. I could be perfect. Like,
everyone who played for Manchester United.
I could have a top 50.
There's Jordan Pickford. I think would good go in there, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Loads,
Plenty.
Cool. Bernardo Silva's my first one.
first choice.
Yeah, I hate.
They're not clapping the guard of honour
I just don't like them.
Right, okay, Sals. That is Thursday Night Pint for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Do come and check out Redmen Uncensored after this show. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to get 50% off your subscription, use the code TNP on a monthly Club Captain subscription. And then, yeah, come and watch us. It's a brilliant series. I absolutely adore it. We never quite know what we're going to get on that. We never script it. We chat a load of shit, and it's always good fun. So come and join us over there for that. TNP is the code, 50% off a monthly Club Captain subscription. Didn't even need a shitty piece of paper. Right, thank you so much to my guests. They've been absolutely wonderful this evening. Do check back at 7 o'clock next week for another Thursday Night Pint.
Go to redmenplus.com, redmenplus.com, redmenplus.redmenplus.com, and you will get discount codes for redmenmerch.com, redmenmerch.com, redmenmerch.redmenmerch.redmenmerch.com.